Hi, I'm Stuart from SB Leadworks. Welcome to the next job. Let's go and have a look, see what it's all about. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, this one is nice and straightforward for a change. So I've nailed this copper strip on, just 25mm lower than the ply. The idea of that is so when the lead comes through there, it can dress down that front edge there and just get turned down, tucked into that copper, and that's going to give us a lovely finish. And it also will stop the wind lift as well. So we've got some building paper on there. It's a little bit wet at the moment, so before I start putting some lead on there, I might have to dry it out a little bit. The sun is starting to get on it, so fingers crossed the sun might do its job, or if not I might have to give it a little bit of help. So what we've done is just divided this into 7 equal bays, so just measured from point there to that point there, and then just divided that equally in 7. It works out nicely with 800 wide lead, apart from this bay here, which would be a 900, because it's an overcloak, just makes it a little bit bigger. So we've got one 900 on that one, all the rest are 800, and then just a flashing up the back underneath the DPC tray to cut in. This roof is vented as well. We've got some soffit vents cut in there and all the way through there, so air can come up there and circulate and come out the other side. Ideally, what we was thinking of doing originally was building an upstand 25mm away and then having like a gap in there to create airflow out of there, and then putting Nicholson vent on. But unfortunately, because the Nicholson vent is angled, it would mean that it would be above the DPC tray, because really that tray sort of like one course too low, could have do with coming up one higher. So what we're going to do instead, because obviously we need to pick up the tray, because otherwise all of this brickwork above, which is going to get soaked, will just seep down and come out behind what we're doing. So we need to make sure we get underneath this tray. So what we're going to do instead later on is cut some mushroom vents in on these bays, just to help with the airflow and that. So what I'm going to do now, I've just cut up my lead, so we'll start getting some lead on there. Okay, so just coming through here now with the bays. What I do when I boss these undercloaks is I cut that edge off there. If you leave it on, it sort of like leaves like an extra thickness on the overcloak, just like I've done that there. So that's that one all welded up. So what I'm going to do now is just work my way through here. I think what I'll do first is just get all the bays on with the undercloaks like that, then we can fall back and start knocking over these overs. Okay, so that's all these bays sat in there now. All the undercloaks are welded, and all the undercloaks are bossed. So now what I'm going to do is fall back and just start turning over these overcloaks, starting with this one here. Get this one turned over, welded up at the back and bossed at the front, and then just work my way through. Okay, so that's all these overcloaks bossed over now. Just finished welding that last back there as well. So what I'm going to do now is trim up these splash laps. What I normally do is trim these to 50mm. So just get a roofing square, put it against the edge there, scribe a line down, sort of like angle it off at the back there a little bit, and normally sort of like angle it at the front as well. So we get all these splash laps trimmed up, then we can have a look at getting all this front down. Okay, so when dressing down this drip edge, what I normally do is always get the sides down first, and that sort of like keys that all in, stops that from lifting. So that's those 2 sides done now, and just dress down this front, ready for turning this into the copper as well. So what I'm going to do here is just scribe a line down the lap there, and we just fold that back, and then what I'll do there is cut out that extra thickness. Otherwise, when you weld that together, you're just gonna have like a bulge there. So we'll take that straight out, and that'll be a nicer finish. So as an example of it just done there, just gonna make it look a lot nicer, just taking that extra thickness out. So that one's all ready to be turned now into the copper. So what I'm gonna do now is just work my way through that front edge. Okay, so that's that front edge all turned into the copper now, ready to roll, ready for welding. So what we're going to do now, we've got a little weld to do down there, got a gusset there to put in. It's just the same on the other side. It's a bit dodgy here because the scaffold runs out, just like a sheer drop. So we've got another corner there, one to do there. So what I'll have to do for that, I think, is what I have been doing is just coming up here and just like hanging off the edge. It's a bit naughty. And it's just like a sheer drop down there, but we've got a little gusset to weld in there as well. So we'll get all those gussets welded in, and then we can have a look at this back flashing. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look at this flashing now. What I've had to do is cut out just below the brick joint, because what they'd done, the bricklayers had put the DPC tray straight onto the brick. So if you take the actual joint out, you'll end up taking the tray out. So what I've had to do is just cut out the top edge of the brick. Just managed to avoid touching the tray. So what I'm going to do is just weld a clip in the centre of every bay and start putting this flashing through. Okay, that's all that flashing in place now. Just cut round the rolls and just trimmed up those clips. What I've also done is just put a little tag on there just to stop any sort of like wind lift, and I've sort of like angled this gusset away because there's going to be guttering that's going to go in there as well. So all that's left to do now, just need to point that back in with a bit of lead point sealant, and give this a coat of oil, and that'll be job done. Okay, so I've just pointed in that flashing now. Didn't go too bad. Just giving it a coat of oil as well, so I've just brought it up nicely. Didn't think I was going to be able to today, to be honest with you, because it's been forecast heavy rain all day, but luckily for me it's just dried out right at the very end, so it just meant I could get it completely finished. So that's it, job done. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You can check me out on Instagram at SLB Leadworks. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and hopefully see you in the next. Cheers.